get anything else. Had a few technical difficulties, but we're making it work.
Okay. All right. So I'm excited for this. Tell me a little bit about your podcast. What's the direction of your podcast?
So the direction or the purpose of the podcast is to talk about people I've met or people I'd like to meet, or essentially. And the whole point is just to talk to people about what their day-to-day is like, how they got to where they are now, and what it is that they enjoy about like their day-to-day life, what projects they're working on, things like that.
Okay. Sounds good.
So,
All right.
and the intent of it is just to be conversational. So, like, I won't necessarily be firing interview questions so much. So it'll just be more relaxed. If you've ever seen the Joe Rogan show, that's kind of my approach I'm trying to go for, or I'm not trying. That's what I'm aiming for.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I maybe saw you in passing once in Philly.
Yeah, for the Verified conference out there in Philly,
Right.
Pennsylvania.
And
Yeah.
I maybe know you through Breathe University, or I know of you through Breathe University. And I just maybe saw a post of yours and I was like, it'd be good to just reach out. And I know this is probably like a cold call, but just to kind of formally introduce myself and let you introduce yourself and kind of share what you want with the world, with who you are and what you're up to, essentially.
Well, I guess, right. I have been with Breathe University since July. That's when I started with them. So I do the calls in the morning, the mastermind calls on Sundays, because I know that's what you said to me. That you're like, I heard you on the Sunday.
Right. That's right. I did hear you. I've heard your voice come up twice, and I was like I heard your voice recently, and then I saw like a post of yours when you were traveling, and then I was like, wait, is this the same girl that I saw? Because I think I saw you and Nikki, and I was like, oh, okay, like they must be besties or something. But it's like it doesn't seem to take long to really grow relationships with people within BU.
Oh no, it's not. It's fast. They become a family. I mean, as I mentioned, like I started with them in July, and since July, which if you really think about it, it's not that long ago.
No.
But I have built such bonds with these people that they've become family. So it's really nice.
Yeah.
So they're part of my day-to-day life, literally, Monday through Friday. Even throughout the day, we hold each other accountable to a whole bunch of stuff. So, and then the Sunday ones too, like a couple of my accountability partners were on the Sunday calls too. So it's been nice. I've been calling a few times actually, which has been kind of nice.
That's good. So I guess tell me a little bit about yourself. Who do you say you are?
Who do I say I am? I say I am a woman of many talents, but people always tell me that I'm Wonder Woman. They compare my guy. I cannot live up to that woman, but she's amazing. But I work in the medical field. So my ultimate goal is I want to get my medical degree and become a doctor.
Nice.
I'm also an athlete. I love to box. I've been a boxer for about 9 years and a runner. I ran 3.5 marathons. So it's a huge part of my life. And then, I've been, just like everybody, I've been through my ups and my downs, and I've always had the voice to, share my experiences and kind of share my sympathy and empathies and stuff like that. So I like that's a big part of the BU family, because I like to inspire. They inspire me. So it's kind of like a give and take. It's just a nice way to go about your life,
Right. That makes sense. I personally joined BU back in 2016, and I wasn't as active initially, but then I finally kind of like jump in, and sometimes it's been like put one toe in, one toe out, but it's encouraging to see new members like yourself jump right in and just like be active and stay active.
Yeah,
And,
I've been on them with every single day.
mhm,
Um, the only time that I was not able to was when I was in Italy. And like
mhm.
you mentioned, when I was traveling, because it was so hard, I
Yeah.
had really bad signal and I was trying to make the calls and they're like, you sound like a robot. And I'm like, I'm not over here, but so it was hard, but I still kept in touch with all my accountability partners, even though the time difference was pretty big. It was like
Nice. Nice.
7 hours, 12 hours. I don't know.
Oh wow. So I guess you're in the Midwest?
Yeah, I'm in Chicago.
Oh, okay, cool. I like Chicago.
Mhm.
Nice city.
Yeah, it's been home for me for pretty much my whole life. I lived in
Okay,
North Carolina for about 3.5 years,
gotcha.
but I moved back home.
You prefer Chicago to North Carolina?
Now, not so much. I love Chicago, I do, but I don't think I could live another Chicago winter.
Ooh, yeah,
They're brutal, and I don't like them. Plus, I
yeah.
prefer more nature. I like to do a lot of like hiking and mountain climbing.
Hmm.
So I like to be able to go on adventures and explore.
Got you. You're not into climbing a mountain and ice picking?
I can get, I can go do a mountain climb. I did that. I went and climbed up Mount Charleston, stuff like that. So that was fun.
Mm, okay, that's what's up. So you said you're an athlete. How long? You said you is it mainly through the boxing and the marathons that you ran?
Um, Running, some avid runner, avid
Mhm.
boxer, but also do a lot of like weight training, so
Okay,
strength training. So I do a lot of lifting weights, but I've
got
also suffered a lot of injuries because I tend to, when I say I train, I train and I'm like, all right, this is my life. I am now a
you.
warrior.
Right.
you know but and because of that I've overtrained and got injuries, so I've actually just recovering back from a couple injuries and
Got
getting back in the game, so it's been really, even it feels even better.
got you.
i was
Right.
I was on the treadmill the other day and I was like, yeah, I was with my friend, I was like, look, I'm running, and I'm like, people are like, yeah, we get it, you're running. I'm like, but no, I'm running.
Right.
Like, I'm actually running, can you believe it? Like, I couldn't even believe it, but
Yeah.
it's
How
been
long were you?
nice.
How long were you sidelined for?
Uh, Seems like an eternity, but it was about 5 to 6 months.
Ooh,
Mm,
what'd you do?
I I damaged both MCLs in my knees. So both my knees, my MCLs, and then I also developed tendonitis in my elbow. So I
Okay,
couldn't lift nothing more than 5 pounds with my, like, even holding up my phone hurt.
got you. Ooh,
But
and that's all from overtraining or from you still boxing?
overtraining, overusage, and boxing, because it's a lot of heavy impact on the hands and the
Right.
wrist when
Right.
you're hitting the heavy bag. I actually ended up switching to this cool thing that's like a water bag. It's like a teardrop shape, but it's
Hmm.
just filled with water.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a softer impact on your wrist. So that was kind of nice thing I
So
learned.
not like the thing that's up above that people usually like the speed bag, I guess.
That's the speed bag. That's different, but this is like a bigger one. It's much bigger and it's just filled with
Oh,
water, and you can just, it's like a punching bag.
okay.
Mostly, it's much better for like uppercuts and stuff like that, but it's much easier. So that was nice.
Got you.
But
Okay.
no.
I guess I'll have to learn how to box or maybe ask you for some tips from time to time.
Yeah, sounds good. I used
But,
to train high school students to run half marathons. That's
mm,
how I first started. But because my first one started off as a high school student, my first half marathon, I think it was in 2011.
okay. So
So I don't
did the marathons get you into boxing or is it the other way around?
I don't know. They kind of just started around the same time, I think.
Okay.
It started around the same time. I just all of a sudden I was like, I'm gonna be an athlete today. That's why I woke up that day.
Right.
And it's just been like that. But there was one point where I stopped being an athlete and I actually gained a lot of weight. I was overweight. And
Hmm.
so, and then eventually one day I like woke up and realized, I was like, oh, I'm overweight. And I just did not realize I grew comfortable.
Hmm.
And I actually lost 60 pounds in under a year
Oh
because
wow.
I set my mind to it. I was like, nope, this gotta go. And then
Got-
that's kind of how I also overtrained because I
You're
was like,
going
I
too
can't do
hard.
it. I was going, yeah, I didn't give
Yeah.
myself a break. So I learned you need to give yourself a rest day
Right, right.
or two.
I guess that seems to be a big thing with people that work really hard, and sometimes I guess you can kind of you forget to sleep or things like that. But have you been able to kind of like implement it in your routine to like have scheduled rest, or are you starting to listen to your body?
Yes, so I've listened to my body. I've actually switched it around. Like, I won't work out every single day how I was doing it before. I
Hmm.
was, um, I will schedule a days. Now I schedule days with friends.
Hmm.
I'll throw that. So it also gives me a rest day, but I'm also working on a bond. Because that's also important in life is being able to. We're humans. We need to socialize. We need to have people that we can share with, talk with, care with, about. To have someone care about you too.
Right,
So I
right.
throw in one of those, and then work and then a day to work on my personal stuff, but then I'll do the gym. So and then I'll have my day of rest.
Gotcha.
I'll absolutely do nothing and I turn my phone off and I'm like on do not disturb. I have
Nice.
disappeared from the planet Earth for this day.
Nice. That's pretty good. I just noticed I was looking down at your name and you see have it say Selenia Dr. Sosa, and I was like, that's pretty intentional. You already have it there so that every time you like see it.
Yeah, the funny story behind my name actually is because there was one day on the accountability calls, and it was one of those days when I first got my injury, and I
Hmm.
had stopped, like not being able to work out, so I got into a really like depressed mood. I wasn't able to do what I loved, so it made me
Yeah.
very depressed. I was in a funk, and I was like, I don't want to be a doctor. I was like, oh, I'm not going to be a this, that, and then one of my accountability partners like, you need to focus on your other goals. He's like, you want to be a doctor, right? So we need to breathe life into it. So from now on, he's like, his name is Ski. He's on the calls still.
Hmm.
He's like, we're just gonna call you Dr. Sosa because you're gonna be a doctor. So we're gonna breathe life to it, Dr. Sosa. And ever since then, it's been Dr. Sosa. When I went to the clinic, people came up to me and were like, Dr. Sosa? I was like, what? How did this happen all the way out here?
Yeah, that's hilarious. So like, by the time you become the doctor, it's like it'll just be natural to you. You just be walking in it like this. Oh, I've been here before.
Yeah, so it's nice because that's the one thing that we're really into is breathing life into your words, breathing life into your dreams and your goals. So we always say, whatever you are, just picture in it, put yourself in your
Yeah,
shoes, and that, just go be it.
that's awesome. I feel
Hmm.
like I need to jump back on those calls because I've been on them like every now and then, but just kind of working on the morning routine for myself and understanding where I need to be. It's like I'll do, I've got just kind of carving out my time to say, okay, I'll do one or two calls
Hmm.
a week and then kind of just limit it because as you can probably tell, like you're more so what do they call it with the disc personality, more of an I, like a little bit more
Hmm.
sociable, to where for me it's like I can do this and then maybe I'll need like an hour nap or like 30 minutes recovery.
Yeah, I definitely am a high I, but I'm also a high D. So
Hmm,
I'm a high I, but I chase my goals, but I use my I to help me get to my goals by
gotcha.
being.
That's smart.
Hmm.
Very cool. And I know you said you've been boxing for a while. Are you doing that for like to compete at a certain level or?
So for a while I did was training to compete citywide and then I stopped and then after a while when I returned to it it was for personal. Just I like to do it, so I was just at the gym, but even still
Okay.
just doing it for personal, you're still bettering your technique and all that stuff.
Right,
Um
right.
but then I was like, I really miss this. And I was, doing it again. I was like, I really did love to do this. And it was like bringing back all these memories. I was reminiscing about like how, great it made me feel. So like, I'm gonna get started again. So then I started training again for actual like competing wise. And I was trying to get myself into the Golden Gloves for next year.
Mm, gotcha.
Um, So I was really excited. I was like, yeah, I'm back in the game. I found a really good gym that's very populated with women boxers because boxing as a woman is a tough sport to find someone to spar with you because they're all males and they take it easy on you because you're a girl.
Gotcha.
But I love this gym. And then, bam, life threw a curveball at me and I got injured, so I had to stop. I had to put a pin in that dream, and just like, you know what? It took me a while to realize it, but I was like, you're just not gonna happen right now. I'm just gonna put a pin in you, and we're gonna come back to it. Doesn't mean I'm giving up. I'm gonna quitting.
Right.
I'm not. Gotta put a pin in it. And while that was pinned, I just took off another goal down, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna focus on this.
Okay.
I started kind of switch over to focusing on my career and then traveling by myself, which was exciting.
Is that something important to you, traveling by yourself?
It was my first time traveling alone, and it was amazing and scary, but yet amazing and life-changing.
Gotcha.
I would definitely do it again. I mean, I went to Philly by myself, but it wasn't really by myself because I already knew that there was going to be people that I kind of knew there.
Right.
So I was like, I knew if, so it's not as like a strange place because I know nobody, but but no, I like it, and no, I don't mind it. I would do it again. Definitely would do it again.
Is that a challenge for you, or is it just something you wanted to try out?
It was a challenge, and also I was trying to step out of my comfort zone, and also to do a little bit of soul searching. You gotta sometimes to really discover things about yourself, you have to put yourself in a situation where you do not know what you will ever do, or things that you're so used to are like so part of your routine. For example, I'm so used to always having things planned and all right, we got to do this, I got to do that to get to here. We're going to be there at this time. And so when I went to Italy, I went to Greece, and then when I came back from Greece, I had absolutely no plans for the next week and a half. So I literally would book my hotels and stuff the night before. Like before I went to sleep, I was like, oh man, I got to book something or else I'm going to have nowhere to stay tomorrow.
Wait, so you went to Italy and you were doing it like day by day?
After the first 6 days, I did like about a week and a half.
Right.
I was just winging it.
Wow.
And that was crazy because that's not something I do. But I was trying to just, sometimes you gotta do the things that scare you to become an even better you. And I was able to overcome that fear. Now I'm like, hey, I can totally just wing things now. I'm cool, which is great because you got to learn how to be flexible in life and fluid. Because, like you said, life will throw you a curveball if you can't just, slide underneath it and duck it and weave out the way.
Right.
You're just gonna get smacked down. And we don't want that.
Right. That's awesome because it's like you've been able to take something that you do in training and you're applying it actually to your life, and you're like, okay, like if I can fight somebody one-on-one, now I can I can life and just be like, okay, let's go. Like, this is today. What do I want to do? I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out.
Yes. And I do use my boxing in my everyday life to just when I motivate myself, I'll tell come on, Sosa, you're a fighter. You get knocked out of the ring all the time. You can't let life knock you out. And I'm like, yes, yeah, you're right. Okay. I'm like, I was like a fighter in the ring and a fighter in life. That's what I always say.
Nice. So are you, I know you mentioned earlier you're a North Carolina native, but you've spent more time in Chicago?
No, I was born and raised in Chicago, and I lived in North Carolina for 3 years, 3.5 years.
Gotcha. Was that like school or?
No, my ex-husband was in the military, so we were stationed out in Camp Lejeune.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. Gotcha. And I guess as I'm kind of putting this podcast thing together, I feel like maybe this one and the last one I kind of did. I feel like I'm doing you kind of a disservice not having researched well enough, but I was thinking, let me try and do this off the top and see what I come up with. But it's like, okay, some things I can wing. Yeah, there's some things you can wing and some things you can't. But I was going to ask you about your last name. What is its origin?
To be honest, I don't know its original origin, but it's just been a family name. It's my dad's last name, it's Sosa, but I don't know
Gotcha.
about I've
Okay.
never really asked.
Got you. Okay. The reason
Mm-hmm.
I ask is because am I echoing?
Mm-mm.
Okay. The I'm thinking about it because I just listened back to what I put out this week and I was like, I guess I didn't hear it at first and then there's just this terrible echo. But anyways, hopefully I can cut this out. Um, the reason I asked is because me myself, I wasn't born in the U.S., so I'm originally Cameroonian.
Mm-hmm.
So I always find it interesting to kind of see like how like a lot of people they have like cultural backgrounds and like whenever I saw Sosa, I was like, is it a Latin name? Maybe not. But just seeing like where different people come from and seeing like what they value, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
family, community, whether it's like work and things like that. Um,
Yeah.
I was just, I guess that was my intent in asking that, like, where are you from, or what are
My
some of the?
family, well, I was born and raised in Chicago, but my family is from Guatemala. Both my parents were born
Okay,
and raised there.
got you.
I've
Okay,
been there a couple times. I visited. I like it. It's not too
okay,
bad. Yeah.
cool. Sorry, bear with me.
Mhm.
Oof. Okay. So, so you're in school right now for to become a doctor, correct?
I took the year off to travel, so I kind of went a
Okay.
couple places.
Gotcha.
And I'm actually working on getting back into school, but I'm transferring schools because I found, did the research, found a better school for me. Plus, my job
Okay.
helps me pay for the school. So
Gotcha.
I'm looking to transfer over there. So I'm just in the works of that. But yes, I'll
Gotcha.
be finishing up my undergrad. I'm almost done. I took a year and a half off to
Hmm.
go to Paris, London, Sweden,
Oh, nice.
Italy, Greece. I went to Canada, Puerto Rico, Philly,
You
Vegas.
you weren't playing around when you said travel.
I wanted to travel. I wanted to do it, and so I just did it. I was
Nice.
like, nothing's gonna stop me. And I worked really hard. I saved up all my money, and I lived really frugally. Like, just
Nice.
wouldn't do anything. Didn't hang out with friends. And then you never hang out with us, but you're always traveling. I'm like, that's why. I can't have a life. I must sacrifice something.
Got you. I mean, is that one question I would ask? I haven't asked it in this way, but I think it applies. Like for you being able to travel to all those places, do you think like what was the reality of it for you? Like seeing other people travel and then you yourself having the opportunity to travel in the same way.
Well, actually, no one in my family really traveled a lot.
Hmm.
Um, I just started to do it because after my divorce, like, cause I was married to a military man, so my life was
Hmm.
in my own. Everything that I had to do was revolved around him.
Right,
Which don't get me wrong, I knew what I signed up for, and I didn't mind doing it at all. I was honored to do it.
right.
But after my divorce, I was kind of like, I get to do what I want. For the
Freedom.
first time in a while, I was like, oh, I get to do what I want. So I did. And
Hmm.
one thing that I really wanted to do was travel.
Right.
And that's why I travel like a lot by myself because I'm like, at first I was like, well, let me travel with my friends and whatnot. I asked them to like, let's go to Paris, let's go here. And they're like, yeah, of course. But then when it came to the day of buying ticket, I got an excuse after another excuse. So then eventually I was just like, well, I'm just gonna book it.
Right.
I did. And then it became less scary. And then I had it set, on my calendar. I had a date, the set date already. So it made planning for it easier because I was like, all right, in 10 months, I'm going here.
Right.
So by planning and also like it gives me time to learn the culture and just go in there a little bit more knowledgeable so it's less scary.
Hmm.
And also I look for places that it is the safest for a woman to travel.
Gotcha. That's
Like,
smart.
yeah.
That's what's up. So I mean, in the, um, I was going to say in the grand scheme of things, but as soon as I thought it, I was like, that's dumb. But as you look at it, all the planning that you did for it, did you expect that going in, or was that kind of like a surprise for you as you're like, oh, let me like put
The
these
which part?
plans in order? The planning before it, like whenever you saw the travel, because a lot of people, they say they want to travel, and like you said, for your friends, when it came time to book the tickets or book the trip, they kind of got discouraged, or like nobody wanted to commit. But was that hard for you to do, or just once you already saw, hey, I want to do this, like
No,
do it?
I no, because my desire to live was just so strong that
Mm-hmm.
nothing was gonna stop me.
Got you.
I just knew that I wanted to go there, and I was determined.
Mm.
Like it was for my birthday. It was my birthday gift to myself. I went to Paris. I was in Paris and Sweden for my birthday because I had
Right.
a layover in the day where I stayed there for
Mm-hmm.
24 hours. So half of my day
Yeah.
was in Sweden, half the day was in Paris. And I was
Nice.
just determined, this is what I want. And if you don't go ahead and put yourself, that things are never gonna happen. And I
Very
learned
cool.
that the hard way. I wasted 3 years of my life in a certain aspect of it, but
Mm-hmm.
and I just kind of crammed it all as much as I could, and I just feeling the reward of being able to do these things and experience these things that most people don't usually do.
Right.
It was just really, it felt good. I
Got you.
was living. I felt alive for the first time, and then I
Mm.
became like so hungry for it, and I just kept going. I'm actually leaving next weekend because it's gonna be my birthday, so I was just like, I'm gonna go somewhere else and travel somewhere because I don't. That's my new goal is every year for my birthday, I'm gonna fly somewhere. I'm about
Nice.
to fly it.
So are you winging this one, or do you already have a place in mind?
I'm winging it a little bit. I'm just gonna go
Gotcha.
visit a friend that lives out in Vegas, and then we're just gonna
Okay.
go hang out, climb some
Nice.
mountains, and have some fun.
Nice. Nice. There's a. Have you already been to Vegas before?
Mhm.
Okay. I was gonna say that I went there for the first time. Was it 4 years ago, maybe? And that I did something similar where I was just like, I wasn't like I was kind of hesitant about traveling, and this was like starting out in the workforce for the first time right out of college, and
Mhm.
I've got to like let me buy a timeshare just so that I force myself to take a vacation, because I know if I don't buy and commit to something, I won't end up doing it. I'll find a reason to go home, visit family, and
Mhm.
chill. But that's amazing. And from like your trips that you've done, have you kind of seen some of that resolve within yourself that you wanted?
Mhm. Of course, yeah. Every trip, every place that I've gone has taught me its own lesson. Um, Especially, I feel like this last one taught me a lot. Mostly because I was by myself, and there was times where I hadn't even spoken a single word all day. And so, when you really don't speak,
Hmm.
you just think. And
Right,
sometimes and then there's times when you don't think. But those
right.
times too are also beneficial because you're thinking a different kind of version of thinking, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
That's kind of when you get epiphanies or you
Gotcha.
feel, you think with your heart, if that makes sense. Because there were some times where I had found a really amazing spot in Greece. It was like I had climbed these rocks where I noticed a lot of people were going,
Hmm.
and you can just oversee all of Greece and the city lights at night, the buildings, the and also behind me was the Acropolis, and it was just
Mm.
beautiful.
Nice.
And I wasn't thinking when I was sitting up there, but I was thinking with my heart, so I was feeling. So I learned things by knowing what my heart desired. Because there's things that we desire for ourselves but sometimes our heart desires different things.
Mm. Can you share one thing that you felt in your heart?
Yeah. For one, I felt that I was like, I really need to get a closer bond with my mom and my parents.
Mm.
Because I was like, as I get older, they get older, and I want to make sure that I get to spend every single moment with them as much as I can.
Wow, you're right. Uh,
So, but
no, you're good. You almost had me over here, just like, man. Okay, I feel like I felt that in my heart. I need to go.
I gotta
Like my
hang up
mom
and
would
go
say,
call my mom
yeah,
real quick.
right. Whew,
Um,
that's amazing.
yeah.
And so what's next for you? I know you said you're going to celebrate your birthday.
Yeah. And then Peru is probably the next place. My best friend's getting married out there. So I
Oh,
want to go out
nice.
and go do that with her. They're gonna do a whole bunch of events and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
that's amazing.
Um, and how long are these the podcasts?
They kind of vary. They're like 30 minutes to 2 hours, but we can wrap up.
Yeah, if you
I
don't
won't
mind,
keep you
just
much
because I gotta
longer.
get
Yeah,
going for the night.
right. I see you doing your makeup. You're getting ready to go out.
Yeah.
Cool. But I appreciate you being on. If you'd like people to follow you on social media or anything like that, just go ahead and shout yourself out. Let them know where they can get a hold of you or link up with you.
Yeah, and then so what do you do with this afterwards? Do you like take
So
it or just post it like that? Do you edit it? What do you do?
right. So I'll edit it, but what I'll do immediately now is that I'll like upload it unlisted to YouTube so that I can send it to you directly,
Mm-hmm.
and that you can look at it, see if it's to your liking or if you want certain things like edited in any kind of way, and then I'll make that adjustment once I get to it. I think this one's maybe like the it's like 30 or so. So
I think
it's been a journey for me. Like I started this October. I started putting them out October 1st, but I started back like right after I got back from the Verify conference because that was one of my goals that I wrote down. I was like, okay, I need to
look at you. Look
get
at
out.
you.
Yeah, it's like the big thing was get out of the depressive mind state and get into like creating.
Mhm.
And like if I was gonna be like stay and be you, it's like okay, like get back to being active and get around the people, get around the energy. And like as soon as I just got there in Philly, I was like, man, this is okay. This is why I'm here in this group. Like I just need to be more active. And
Mhm.
it's just it started and stopped a little bit, but then when September took off, it was like okay, like stay on track. And now it's doing the this readjustment period where I went very hard, and I was like, okay, you got to pace it. And now that work is kind of coming back up, it's make sure that I manage that because similarly, I took a little bit of time off where I was like, I just need to get my head together.
Mhm. And sometimes we have to take that break, before we can get back up. We got to recharge. We get tired too, and you got to recharge. It is okay. Rest if you must, but don't you quit.
Right. Because right now it's like waking up. Um, at least I'm not fighting it anymore, but it's like waking up anywhere from like 2:30 to 3. So like by 9 p.m. my time, I'm usually like fast asleep or middle of the day.
Mhm. But okay. Well, then I look forward to seeing or hearing. Is it just the audio recording or is it also the video?
So I'm doing both. I put the video on YouTube and then the audio put it on SoundCloud, Spotify, like all the audio platforms. And like I was saying earlier, I just noticed that the last one I put up in the audio form is kind of jacked up, so I got to go back and fix it and correct
Okay.
it. But luckily, I caught it.
So will I be able to see it beforehand, before it
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
public,
So
or?
as soon as I finish recording this, I'll go ahead and send it to you through Messenger. So once you get back, and like you'll have it in your inbox.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think this probably won't go out until maybe March or something next year. So you got time. If you just want to say like scrap it, it's like okay, we'll scrap
And
it,
let's do it again.
and
Okay.
then we can do like another take.
Okay. Sounds
But
cool.
it was a pleasure talking to you. You
It
have a
was
good.
nice. Thank you for reaching out. I appreciated it.
You're welcome.
All right. Have a
Um,
good
have a good night.
good night.